Hello, good afternoon. Well, thank you so much, Mayor Woodards. I appreciate the kind introduction, but as well your partnership and your leadership as the chair of the Women's Mayors Leadership Alliance. I'm honored to be with you and all of the incredible mayors that are going to be speaking after me on this panel, focusing on women leadership. You know, I see many parallels between mayors and entrepreneurs. You have to start and scale quickly, from launch of your campaign to building teams and operations, laying out your vision, convincing folks to follow you, and fundraising to achieve your goals. You know, and like any successful entrepreneur, mayors have to pivot and adapt. No job or task is too small or too big. You're up to the task. And we know that when women lead in particular, as mayors or as entrepreneurs and small business leaders, we see strong performance. Women power our country. And we are planners, problem solvers, as well as great partners. And especially during these adverse times, we plan our budgets and control our spending. So it's no surprise that women start a majority of businesses today. And despite current economic challenges, their businesses and all of America's 33 million small businesses are a key source of hope and strength, powering, in fact, the biggest entrepreneurial renaissance in American history. During President Biden's first 2 years in office, we've seen the greatest 2 years of new small business applications on record, with 10.5 million new business starts in 2021 and 2022. You know, that's about 70% faster than historical averages. We are finally seeing this incredible growth of new business births that we need to power our economy. Generational investments under this president have enabled Americans to start new businesses and create jobs at these record-breaking levels and really speak to the small business boom that we're seeing in our economy. And that's just the start. President Biden's economic agenda is working. Inflation has come down 6 months in a row, and yesterday we saw the Producers' Price Index, basically annual inflation for businesses, drop to its lowest level since March 2021. That's good news for small business owners around the country and your cities. And in 2023, they will see even more savings in health care, prescription drugs, as well as some tax credits that we want them all to take advantage of to lower their energy bills and more. The Biden-Harris administration is committed to maximizing these cost savings and revenue growth opportunities as well to ensure that our small businesses can continue with their success pathways. Throughout American history, entrepreneurship has been a path to opportunity, a path to prosperity and wealth building, especially for those facing barriers and discrimination that limited their potential. And as I mentioned earlier, the face of entrepreneurship is changing. It's not a coincidence that women start most of the new businesses in America, nor that women of color in particular continue to lead those rates of startups. Women power our economy. Women like Cleo Barger from Kansas City, Kansas, who I met with recently. She started an aerospace manufacturing business in the 80s. This was back when she had to get her husband to co-sign a loan for her in order for her to start her business with her partner. You know, she became 8A certified by the federal government, built her business in the federal contracting space, and is now powering her business globally with grants from the SBA through our incredible STEP program. Women in an unexpected industry proving impact. Or like Jenny's Splendid Ice Cream. Jenny started in Columbus, Ohio, as many of you may know who have traveled through that area and in the many states that she's at. But she started with a $35,000 SBA loan in the 90s, a fact that she's very proud of. Something that is, those small dollar loans are precious to small businesses who are looking to start. And we've seen, unfortunately, a decline in those small dollar loans over the past 5 years. But that capital got her into her first scoop shop, her first bricks and mortar, and she's now expanded to over 40 locations plus online sales. Jenny and Cleo are part of the roughly 12 million women-led businesses who employ over 10 million workers and produce nearly $2 trillion in GDP. And they've turned great ideas into successful businesses. Of course, great ideas come from everywhere, in every corner, in every city across the country, but we also know inequity persists, and that holds back our prosperity as a nation and our economy overall. The Biden-Harris administration, as a result, through the SBA's great programs, is working to level the playing field, break those barriers, and create competition in our economy, because that's what entrepreneurs do. They are the competition that create the products and services that we depend on. The resources we offer at the SBA, including over $43 billion in loans and investments every year through the SBA, and another nearly $4.5 billion in non-dilutive grants for innovation and research for those businesses that are in science and technology fields. All of those programs are vital to ensuring that your local businesses can start, grow, and be resilient. Still, disparities in the capital access space persist. Only 44% of businesses receive a bank loan. Many of them rely on that personal wealth or credit cards to power their businesses, which definitely puts underserved communities and underserved entrepreneurs, including women, at a greater disadvantage. So we're transforming our programs at the SBA, as was mentioned in the introduction, really trying to focus on successes from the PPP, broadening our network so there's more distribution on site within your cities, as well as creating simple products that every small business owner can access swiftly through technology where it makes sense, as of course in language, as we know that the face of entrepreneurship is changing, with a strong customer-centric perspective. We want to see the future Jennies and the future Cleo Bargers successfully launch and grow. We're also helping small businesses, though, grow their revenues with government contracting, a more than $500 billion marketplace at the federal level every single year. We want in this administration to make sure that we can hit our small business goals. And last year we hit a record $154 billion of our spending to small businesses. We're working hard to make sure that small disadvantaged businesses can expand in federal contracting as well, so that we can uplift all aspects of our entrepreneurial landscape. And the President's goal is to hit 15% of our small business contracting to small disadvantaged businesses around the country, to make sure that we can get tens of billions of dollars more into the hands of those businesses to grow. We need to continue to expand our industrial base. That's how we get innovation. That's how we make sure that our agencies can fulfill their missions. And that's all helped, of course, by President Biden's Made in America and Buy American efforts. We hope we can increase the synergies across our contracting programs at the federal level and at the local level as well. As your city vendors get contract ready, we want them to be contract ready to do business with the federal government so that those federal dollars can go back into your communities. When it comes to building revenue, though, it's beyond just contracting. As we think of all of our Main Street businesses, nothing has been more important for small businesses during the pandemic than getting digital, making sure that the businesses have an online presence. And I've been traveling to many of your cities, and by and large, most small businesses say that that's what's helped them survive during the pandemic and where they see opportunity to grow into the future. Getting digitized helps them access the $860 billion US-based e-commerce marketplace, and is also a pathway to global trade, as so many businesses with an online presence start to market and sell in multiple markets around the globe. And the SBA has a Small Business Digital Alliance with free tools and support services through our networks to make sure that small businesses can continue to get digital and get revenues through those sources. But most importantly, and where I'm most excited to partner with mayors across the country with, because you're absolutely vital in this space, and that's in our networks and our one-on-one counseling, our boots on the ground, because you help us to get to our small businesses and make sure that they can level up with training and expertise offered through our free network of centers that provide technical assistance. For our part, the Biden-Harris administration has expanded our networks with more trusted local partners who know your businesses and are in your communities. We launched through American Rescue Plan the Community Navigator program, which added another 450 local partners on the ground to help us reach small businesses. We've been able to provide more free counseling as a result and make sure that we can build a trusted network for local businesses to really tap in for expertise. So whether you have an SBA growth accelerator in your town, a small business development center, a women's business center, a veterans business outreach center, SCORE chapters, or these community navigators, we want to make sure that SBA is here to support you. In fact, we are seeding new accelerators right now, so I hope that many of you will seek out our Growth Accelerator program as we launch through February this open competition to fund more accelerators around the country. Mayors are a natural fit to help strengthen local innovation ecosystems. You know the stakeholders. You can gather and convene the stakeholders across many different sectors that can build this institutional ecosystem that can support entrepreneurship. In the bottom line, all of the SBA's programs are there designed to fill gaps, to de-risk the marketplace for investment, for capital, and make sure that small businesses can survive and thrive. And we have to fill those gaps. It creates huge inefficiencies in our marketplace. Morgan Stanley estimates the cost to our economy at $4.4 trillion when we underinvest in entrepreneurs who are those small businesses founded by women and people of color. We want them to create the jobs at the same rates as their peers and create the revenue output. And as mayors, and of course our great women mayors as well who are here, we can't leave that kind of value on the table, especially for our women entrepreneurs. And our communities, our economies, our budgets really depend on their ability to succeed. So I do hope that we can jointly rally all of your local stakeholders and partners to make sure that we can position resources from the federal government, deploy them, and help ensure that all of your small businesses can leverage the opportunities on the horizon presented by President Biden's historic legislative achievements with the infrastructure spending, spending on climate of the future, climate and energy of the future, as well as, of course, manufacturing. I challenge you to put my SBA team to work for your city every day. In fact, my regional administrators have been here this entire time of your summit, making sure that they're connecting with you. We have 10 regional offices around the country, 68 district offices, and over 1,600 centers on the ground. And I don't know if any of my regional administrators are here in the room. I want to make sure that I acknowledge them. So I think that Elmi Bermejo is here from the West Coast. Mike, are you here as well? Mike Fong is right there, also from the West Coast. Ted James, who covers Texas, Louisiana. And then as well, I think Alan Thomas is not here, but we had Alan Thomas here earlier, Jerry Agleplay, and others. And so we want to make sure that you can always connect with our regional administrators to deploy resources in your community. I know you got to spend time with my associate administrators who lead these programs at a national level, like Jen Kim, who operates the entire field district, as well as Mark Madrid, who does entrepreneur development, those 1,600 centers with a footprint in your communities. The SBA is 70 years old this year. We've had incredible successes supporting some of the nation's most iconic corporations, Apple, Tesla, 23andMe, iRobot, as well as Chobani. We've powered these businesses as they've scaled and become impactful businesses for our economy. With the unprecedented level of investment in America and our supply chains, our manufacturing, our R&D and innovation, as well as our infrastructure and future industries, we can see this unparalleled growth again together, which is why I'm now so pleased to be here today to also sign a strategic alliance memorandum with the U.S. Conference of Mayors. We've been in partnership since I started, and I know Mayor Kautz and I have been working hard to make sure that small business resources are distributed throughout the cities and are made available to spur entrepreneurship and create competition and innovation in our economy. So I know that together, powered by this partnership and this commitment from the SBA, we can continue to grow our small businesses and create those jobs that they are so great at creating. So thank you so much for your constant participation and your constant engagement in making sure that your small businesses have pathways to success. And I look forward to partnering with you through my great team on the ground in your cities. Thank you.